Hello and welcome to Advent. Welcome to a sacred 4-week pilgrimage as together we ready ourselves for the birth of Jesus Christ. Welcome also to a 4-week video series as together we receive the latest gift from our bishop, Shelton Fabre, his pastoral letter entitled A Reason to Hope. My name is Father Mark Toups, Chancellor for the Diocese of Houma-Thibodaux, and over the next 4 weeks together we will unpack the wisdom of our shepherd, Bishop Fabre. We will dive deep into his pastoral letter entitled A Reason to Hope. We'll make some practical applications for ourselves, taking the 4-week pilgrimage of Advent into a journey in our hearts as we together anticipate the birth of Jesus Christ. So welcome. It's a real gift to have you with us today. Today we're going to just look at the big picture. Why is it that our bishop gave us the gift of this pastoral letter? Then we'll take a flyover chapter 1, looking at some of the central themes, landing on a theme that really kind of touched my heart, and then we'll kind of unpack that together and see how it fits in your life. So welcome. It's great to have you with us today. Bishop Fabre begins in his introduction reminding all of us that we, together as a diocese, are on the heels of our 40th anniversary. And I loved what he said as he described that the diocese is not a thing, but it's a someone. It's not a place on Highway 311. It's 39 beautiful church parishes with Catholics just like you and I who are pursuing the Lord together. I love the fact that he invited us to look at the diocese through the lens of people, one person at a time, one beautiful community at a time. And he reminded us that we are about to celebrate our 40th anniversary on June 5th, 2017. And I think with that, I was really touched as he reminded us that he, like so many of us, we see the trends as we look at the conception and birth of our diocese, and we look at our individual church parishes, our relationships with people, our friends and family. We all know people who used to be Catholic who perhaps are no longer practicing the faith, or just a general sense of decline. And he just acknowledges that right off the bat, which I thought was really beautiful. And in that, he has the courage and the beauty and the grace to remind us that he has hope. In fact, he has a reason to hope. And I thought that was a beautiful, not only invitation for us in the introduction, but also a beautiful title for us. Because as he says, I think a lot of us need hope at this stage of our life, whether it's with the economy, whether it's just with the tension within family life or married life, or even with the holidays itself. This time of year can be a difficult time for many people. And so the fact that he's inviting us not only into hope, but giving us a reason to hope and a person to hope in is really good news. Chapter 1 is about searching, and I love the way that he kind of painted the invitation for us to hope, really kind of on the canvas of the hearts that we have and the way that we are all searching for something. Of course, he inviting us to the wisdom of St. Augustine, as he says that most of us are searching to be happy. And I think a lot of us would recognize that. Some of us would, as he says in the beginning, say that we are happy. Some of us would say that we're happy, but we're tired with the pace of life. And some of us are searching for a greater sense of happiness. And so Augustine captures that and says, well, the desire to be happy is written on the human heart, and it's not that we want to be happy, but I love the way that he lifts up Augustine's wisdom and invites us to look at how we are pursuing that. Where are we pursuing the quest and the desire for happiness? Of course, he gives us that beautiful image from the movie The American President that spoke about how we can search, but sometimes when we search in the desert, we'll drink the sand when we see a mirage. And that really rang true in my own life, because I think that a lot of times in my search for happiness, that search has led me to lots of places and patterns that don't actually give me the happiness that I'm looking for. Of course, he shared that beautiful story of his time in Belgium and the Christmas that he had in Belgium, where he was longing for more. And I think the longing for more is what really captured my heart in the chapter, especially when he outlined the fact that there's something in the air at this time of year, which he called the Christmas cheer. Love that. I'm not quite sure about you, but I do distinctly recognize a difference in people's lives at this time of year, whether it's the holiday season, whether it's just connecting with family. I just find people are in a better mood. I love the fact that he actually named that in a way that I had recognized in the past but didn't have the language for. I connect with that in South Louisiana because I think that a lot of us are often looking for the next thing. You know, it's Thanksgiving, then right after that it's Black Friday, then right after that it's the secular Christmas season, then that brings us into Christmas and lots of time with our family. Right after that are the football games that are on TV all day long. That takes us into the preparation for Mardi Gras, takes us into Mardi Gras, takes us into Lent. We get ready for Easter. Summer's just around the corner with summer vacations and lots of different ways that we experience that in South Louisiana. Here comes a new school year. Right after the new school year is over, it's football season. After football season, we're right back to Thanksgiving. And it just seems like, you know, in Cajun country, you and I can just float on this calendar of diversion. And it's easy for us to look for the next thing. I just want to pause right there just for a second. That's what really captured me when he talked about the Christmas cheer. Because if you and I are looking for more, one of the ways that it's going to be revealed to us is if there's something different about the end of the year that's not there during the rest of the year. So if we're attracted to the Christmas cheer, the spirit in the air at this time of year, I love the question that he asked us when he says, what is it that we're not experiencing the rest of the year that we taste for a moment in Christmas cheer? And I think that if we look underneath, almost like the insatiable pursuit of diversion, we may find the fact that a lot of us are searching for more. And of course, most of our lives are ordinary. Most of our lives are not the family banquet of Thanksgiving and Christmas. Most of our lives are much simpler than that. You know, our homes don't look the rest of the year the way they look when we're getting ready for Thanksgiving or the Christmas tree's out in December or we have decorated everything for the Christmas gathering. Most of our lives are ordinary. And in the ordinary, I think we want more. And that's what's driving the diversion. You know, I have to be honest with you and say that a lot of times I have already begun to think about Saturday once Monday unfolds, right? As soon as I hit the alarm clock on Monday morning, I'm already looking forward to the next weekend. How many times in South Louisiana have you been eating a meal and you're already talking about the next meal? How many times have you found yourself looking at a Sunday night, maybe just kind of going through Facebook and see what other people did during the weekend, and you're already kind of building your plans for like the next Friday? You see, I think a lot of us, in the rhythm of the way that we live our lives, we're looking for the next thing. And I think that's the beauty of the chapter that draws us into the Pastoral Letter, which is all about searching. We're all searching for something. And the question is, do you know what you are searching for? Because if we don't know what we're searching for, then I look at my life and I can't guarantee you where I'm going to search for it. I've struggled a lot in my life with being present to the present moment. I know the interior compulsive frenzy of looking for the next thing. And when I'm always looking for the next thing, I'm never where I'm at, if that makes sense to you. I can be in one place, but my mind's somewhere else. I can be in one conversation, but I'm looking over the shoulder to see who's coming next. I can be doing the thing that I was looking forward to doing, and I'm already thinking about doing the next thing. And it just becomes exhausting after a while when you're never present to the present moment. People know that. I think in relationships, people know when we're not present to each other. People know when we're not present to the present moment. And when we're not present to the present moment, then we're just going to be chasing the next thing, hoping that the next thing will make us happy. And oftentimes it doesn't. And yet the only thing that we have in life is now. You know, the future is like chasing smoke. Just as soon as you think you have it in your hands, it's gone. And when you and I are so interiorly on the edge of our seat waiting for the next thing, we'll never come to appreciate what we have in the present moment. That affects marriages because spouses are seldom present to each other. That affects relationships with your kids or your other family members or the people that you love dearly because they know when we're not present to them. And I think it has a dramatic impact on our expectations and whether or not we feel that our expectations of life are actually met because we're never really present in the present moment to receive the gift that God is trying to give us in the desire that led to the expectations. So I think that this aspect of searching, highlighted in the Christmas cheer, reveals to a lot of us that we do want more in life. What proves that to us is the fact that many of us are always looking for the next thing. And in looking for the next thing, we're not really present to the present moment, the people that are there in life, or the gift that God is trying to give us. And so I love the way that in great love, with a father's heart, Bishop Fabre asks us, what do you want in life? What are you searching for? Are you happy? That's a great question, huh? Like, I love the way that he gave us permission to want to be happy, because I think a lot of us do. It's stamped in the architecture of our hearts, the image of the Creator leaving a trace of his creation, of course, in our hearts. And are you happy at this stage in life? Maybe life hasn't met your expectations. Maybe people haven't met your expectations. Maybe when you were dreaming about what life was going to be like when you were at this stage of life, maybe it looks different now. But are you happy? Are you searching for something more? And if you are searching, my question to you is, where are you searching? How is it that you search? You see, if we don't have the courage to ask those types of questions, then here's the temptation. December 26th will come, and our lives will be no different on December 26th than they were on December 24th. And we'll peg all our hopes that if this or that happens, then 2017 will be better than 2016. And if we're honest with ourselves, we've said that before, haven't we? And so right here, right at the beginning of Advent, right when the journey starts, Bishop Fabre, I really think, with the voice of God, is asking us, what do you really want for Christmas? If Jesus Christ could give you anything, if God could give you what you most want, do you have the words to name your desire? What do you really want from him this Christmas? As we will discover together, the rest of the pastoral letter really kind of unfolds and reveals this image of a God who wants to give us everything. And I think what happens a lot of times is just because of the pace of life and the secular Christmas season that kind of surrounds us, the true meaning of Christmas can get lost real easily. And it's not about a baby. It's about more. That baby grows up to be a savior of your life, of my life together. And what we see in Jesus Christ is that the Father gave us everything in his Son. Everything. He wants to give you that. This Christmas can be different. This Christmas can be the best Christmas you've ever had. This Christmas can be the first step of a new life for you and for me, if we but have the courage to ask for what we want. So let me offer you some encouragements. a few encouragements for you as together you and I walk together in this journey of Advent. The first encouragement is to not be afraid to look deep within your heart. Your deepest longings, that's where you're going to find God. Sometimes you have those desires, and it's almost as if those desires desire you. It's like sometimes you feel things so deep. But we're not going to feel the deep. We're not going to feel the greatest longings of our heart if we're not present to the present moment. And one of the things that keeps us from being present to the present moment is the pace that we keep in our life. So the second encouragement is to slow down as much as you possibly can, and I know that things are even busier at this time of year than they are the rest of the year, but to the best you can, just kind of slow down a little bit. Maybe you don't hit play when you're in the car driving to work or to school, or maybe you have a little extra time before you go to sleep, or maybe you fast from one of your favorite TV shows late at night. Whatever it is, can you slow down just a little bit so that we can become more attentive to the stirrings of our heart? And nothing in our life, I think, helps us like people do, huh? And so my encouragement is to perhaps find some people in your life who can help you in the journey. Bishop Fabre invited all of us to perhaps get into a small group this Christmas season to walk through the Advent season with people in our life who can walk with us. We can study the Pastoral Letter with. We can pray a little bit with them. But I think we need people, and I think this is a great time of year for us to connect with other people who are on a journey just like us. The value of having people with us as we together study the Pastoral Letter is we begin to discover that we're not the only ones asking that question. We're not the only ones who are struggling with that particular thing in life. It kind of validates our own desires for more and gives us a space where we can bring those questions that are on the inside out on the outside. Third encouragement for you is to get into a small group or to walk this Advent with some people. Read the Pastoral Letter with other people who might be with you on the journey. Be patient this Advent. Be patient with the process. Be patient with the stirrings that are in your heart. And be patient with God's response to the questions that you might have. There's something about getting a little quieter that also requires us to be a little bit more patient with what we find in the increased quiet. Even the story of Advent itself, the Jewish people were asking God for a Messiah for a long time, and it didn't come immediately. They waited. That's the story of Advent. It's a story of hope that's in the wait. And what we can learn from the Advent story in our own personal lives is just to be patient. Finally, as you read the Pastoral Letter, what you're really reading is this, your heart. The Pastoral Letter, it's almost like a light that shines on your heart, and this is what you read. Catechism has a great quote that says that when we meditate on sacred texts, here another book is opened, the book of life. That's what God wants you to read this Advent. He wants you to read your heart. He wants to speak to you about your life. The beauty of Advent reveals to us that the truth of the incarnation is that God is involved in your life, in the circumstances of your life. He's listening to you. And what's going to really be important for us this Advent is that we just pay attention to our hearts and that we let the Lord in to our hearts. And all of that gives us hope that we have a God who's present in our lives, especially if we have the courage to find him waiting for us in the searching. I want to close with a story that many of you have heard from me in the past, but I think really gives us the invitation and the posture to sit in during this Advent season. It's a story from one of my favorite priests, Father Larry Gillick, who is a Jesuit in the community in Omaha, Nebraska, where I've often spent some time with the Institute for Priestly Formation. Father Larry Gillick is a seasoned spiritual director with spiritual senses that are attuned to the movement of God. And that might be because one of his physical senses has been compromised. He's blind. He tells us a great story as he's still very active in life, of being on vacation in northern Wisconsin at a Jesuit community house where many of the brothers would go on retreat, would go on vacation, would just kind of take some time alone. And he's there on vacation this one year, and he's on his typical afternoon stroll around the neighborhood. And for whatever reason, he just gets lost. He gets turned around. And he's blind. And he's lost, and he begins to get a little afraid. And so he does what every good Jesuit would do. He begins to pray. And he says, God, what do you want me to do? And he hears the quiet, silent movement of his heart, God respond. Sit down in the middle of the street. To which Father Larry says back to God, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. And God says right back to him, put yourself in a position to be found. So Father Larry sits down in the middle of the street, and he's waiting, and you hear a car is soon driving up in the middle of the street. So the car stops. They see this guy sitting in the middle of the street, and Father Larry kind of turns to them. They actually know Father Larry. They say, Father Larry, what are you doing? He says, I'm putting myself in a position to be found. And he says, we'll get in a car. So he gets in a car. They drive him home. He gets out the car, walks up the driveway, opens the front door, and he stops. And he says to himself, as he realizes that he has just learned one of the most important things in the spiritual life. When you're a little lost and you don't know where to go and you can't see your way out, stop and put yourself in a position to be found. Y'all, if we do anything this Advent, stop. Slow down. You're worried about the economy? Okay, stop. Put yourself in a position to be found. Worried about your family? Slow down a little bit. Put yourself in a position to be found. You're searching, looking for the next diversion, want to be happy, don't know what you're searching for, have a lot going on, like whatever it is, let's slow down and put ourselves in a position to be found. God is pursuing us. God is coming after us. Christmas happened because of what God wanted, not because of what we wanted. He wants you more than you want him. And all you have to do is stop and let yourself be found by a God who's pursuing you. This week, find some people that you can connect with. Let's read the Pastoral Letter with some people in your life. Read your heart. Be patient in the process. Be present to the present moment. And let's all have a reason to hope because God is pursuing us. I pray that this Advent season is filled with grace. I pray that your experience of the Pastoral Letter is one that gives you a reason to hope. And until we see you again, may God bless you.